Alright, here we are back again. I'm going to have another practice session and share with you some of the things that have happened in the last couple of days. I missed a video because, I'll show you why, I was at a training and I am a teaching professional. I'll hold that up real close. You can see it. And I was getting certified by PGA HOPE. And let me tell you really quickly what this is about. So basically what the certification was for me was for adaptive golf training, right? So I actually have a degree from Jackson State University in therapeutic recreation, so this is exactly right up my alley. Adaptively assisting with either equipment, seating, modifications in any way for individuals that just need it, right? So golf is for everybody, but you may or may not understand that you can play golf in a chair. You can be sitting down and play golf. You can be kneeling and play golf. You can play golf one-handed. You can play golf on one leg. You can actually play golf with one arm and one leg. And what PGA HOPE is about sharing that really awesome golf experience with our veterans. Those who have served our country and have come back, and maybe they're struggling getting back into society. It's not the same. You know, when you've been trained and you're in that military environment, everything's very organized and very structured, and you come back to civilian life and it's very disorganized. And so sometimes individuals coming back from service, especially combat service, really struggle assimilating, and they have issues. They struggle, right? And the main thing is we know it and they know it, and so what are we going to do about it? Well, what the PGA of America has done is partnered with the VA, right, the Veterans Administration, and what both organizations are doing is figuring out a way to have fun, figuring out a way for veterans to get outdoors or even indoors in an environment like this and enjoy the game of golf. Golf is absolutely therapeutic. You may or may not realize that. A lot of people watching this video might think that golf is just extremely frustrating. But there's so many little things that people experience out on the golf course that we all take for granted every single day. Just the smell of fresh cut grass. You know, just the sound of birds chirping. You know, when someone's been stuck indoors in the dark because a lot of activity and a lot of noise and a lot of things in the normal world is just really frustrating and annoying to them, they seclude. Well, it's so peaceful out on the golf course. There's all this green grass, and especially in Arizona right now, everything is beautiful. The sun's coming down, and like I tell my friends here, what it feels like is just, you've got the sun, the brilliance of the sun, there's not a cloud in the sky, but there's a little cool breeze. It's like the air conditioner's on or something. So Arizona's just a beautiful place. I'm privileged to be able to live here and teach here and coach here, and now as a certified instructor with adaptive golf through PGA HOPE, I'm going to be able to help our veterans through these different programs, either assisting other instructors or having programs that I can do at my golf course. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I had a very busy day yesterday. I didn't get to my video on my journey, but I really feel like sometimes you get going and going and going, and what you really need on occasion is just a little bit of that wake-up call. Just a little bit of something that says, hey, you know what? Don't take this for granted. You know, Craig, you're extremely blessed. You have the ability to play golf, and you have the ability to travel to Australia, across the other side of the world, to compete and play and do something you love. And some people who have served our country in other parts of the world in combat zones are stuck, and they're sitting in their house in the dark, they're maybe watching TV, and they're struggling. So look, don't take it for granted. Don't take the blessings that you have for granted, and also give back. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And hopefully this video that I'm sharing will hit somebody. Somebody watching this video will be able to pass it along to a veteran who can get online and research. It's PGA, so Professional Golfers Association of America, and HOPE, HOPE, stands for Helping Our Patriots Everywhere. Right? Now, you don't have to be combat wounded in order to participate. You can just be a veteran. But there are programs and instructors now all over the country. So go to PGA.com, go to PGA.org. Those two resources will be able to help you, and look up, you can just Google PGA HOPE and you'll find all kinds of information and how to get plugged in and really enjoy the program. So that's one thing that I was doing. That was really cool. The second thing that I was doing was getting one of my new putters. So as some of you know, I've been designing putters, so check this guy out. This is awesome, right? This is my Australian putter. So green and gold. You may know Australia's flag, right? It's more of a red, white, and blue, but Australia's sporting colors are green and gold, right? So this is a really awesome green putter head with nice cool yellow and white with that signature gold bar that runs right through the back of it. Now the putters, I'll get into all these putters at some point, but this was just another thing that I was doing yesterday that kept me occupied and unable to do this video. This is the mallet style, and in here in this neck we can put a double bend shaft, a single bend shaft, we can put a slant neck or a plumber's neck, and we're going to have all kinds of cool information on our website soon about that. But just wanted to let you know that's one thing that I was doing as well yesterday. I'll be taking the Aussie putter with me to Australia and putting with it. So anyway, just wanted to catch you up. I couldn't get a video of my own game in yesterday because I was learning and running my business. So I have so many balls that I juggle. I'm a golf instructor and a player, an inventor and a developer of products. And so why do I do it all? Right? The main reason is to help you. The reason is because I love to help people. I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, and I believe I'm a good communicator of information. And so I've been able to take very complex things, simmer them down to their pure basics, something really, really simple, and then share it with my students, and the light bulb goes off, and all of a sudden they realize, wow, this is like earth-shattering information, right? One of my students used to say, it's not rocket surgery. And I always thought that was funny how he would combine those two things. So it isn't rocket surgery, but there is so much information out there. There's so much conflicting information. And so hopefully through this journey, you're going to hear some of the ways that I've been able to simplify it. So as I start every warm-up, I use my saber. And I'm not just using it to try to sell products. The saber has really helped me. I've been playing, really honestly, the best golf of my life after developing it and using it. I developed it to help my students. So I felt like, hey, I'm pretty good. I know a lot of good stuff. I can play this game. What about my students? They need some help. So I developed the saber to help them. And then lo and behold, it helped me. How about that? You know, really, and I'll share with you quickly what it was. The biggest revelation for me was the square shape. If you can see the saber, you may not have seen it up close, but it's actually square. Right? Double-ended, heavy at one end, light at the other end. It's got cool information on here about ball position, which I'll get into at some point. But I'll tell you, here's exactly what happened to me. I was swinging the saber, and I was rolling my wrist, rolling it over. And I call this barrel roll. I was doing a barrel roll. It's like I was turning a key or opening a door. I was rotating this forearm through the ball. And the reason, excuse me, the reason for that was because as a junior golfer, I would really drop it way to the inside, and I would come through and I would roll it over. And I would play this big, beautiful push draw that went pretty far. And then I went to school in Jackson, Mississippi. There's all these pine trees. You can't push draw it out there because it'll whack one of the branches and it'll fall down at your feet. So I had to figure out how to get the ball started on line straighter. So anyway, long story short, struggled with the hook, right? Hit it down the line, hooked it into the left rough or desert here in Arizona, or water hazards or whatever else. And it really wasn't until I had the saber that I realized that as my wrist was to come through, instead of coming through like this and rolling over, it was supposed to come through and hinge right back up again, right? So here I am, down the line, really square, blue stripe on top, impact, blue stripe on top, after impact, blue stripe on top, and then boom, right back up again. So anyway, I'm going to get into a little warm-up. I've been asked a couple of questions on social media, and I might answer those as I hit a few balls for you. Oh boy. Yesterday was a busy day. Today was a busy day. But you know what? We got to keep plugging away. At the end of this video, by the way, I'm going to share with you a story of caddying for Mac O'Grady. Now, if you're a golf fan, you know who Mac O'Grady is. At the end of this video, I'm going to share with you a quick story about when I was caddying for Mac O'Grady in a PGA Tour event. So hang in there to the end of this video and I'll share with you that funny story. It's a cool story, not so much funny, although I've got tons of stories about Mac O'Grady, and I will share with you some of them. The guy, the legend, the instructor, the player, he really made an impact on my life in respect to playing the game and really understanding the golf swing, how to move, how to be efficient with my movements. It was very, very important that you know, our paths crossed and I was able to spend time with him. So I'm going to hit a few 9-irons. At the end of the video a couple of days ago, I was amping up. Right, I was hitting it harder, trying to get myself out of breath. And as you can tell, it's not that hard for me, but the purpose of that was to get myself stressed. I'm just going to hit a few 9-irons. The purpose of it was to kind of stress the body so that in practice it's harder on me. It's harder for me to execute versus being out on the golf course. I want playing in a tournament to be relatively easy on me versus practice. So my plan for the next video, I'm going to be out at the golf course. I've got a lesson with a student who has flown in, and we're going to be working all day. And at the end of the lesson, I'm going to get a chance to practice on my own. So I'm going to pull the video camera out, set it up, and do tomorrow's video from the driving range so we can keep talking about the things that I need to do to prepare. So, there's a big difference between playing with your friends and competing and playing in tournaments. And so, the one thing that I really wanted to share with you today that was asked of me was, do you have a pre-shot routine? Well, yes, it's beyond that, right? And it is so important that you need to incorporate it in every practice session. So in the last video, I was raking balls over, banging them, hit, trying to get my heart rate up, trying to test myself. The real test is the mental test, right? It's not the physical test. The real test is the mental test. So as I practice, I picture shots, right? So I've already gone on Google Earth and I've already taken a look at Muna Links in Victoria, where I'm going to be playing the final stage. It's a linksy style golf course on the peninsula. outside of Melbourne, west of Melbourne. And so I've never played there. I know the elevation changes aren't too dramatic. It's pretty close to the coastline, or basically right on the coastline. The turf conditions I know are going to be firm. I know the greens are probably going to be really fast. But what's going to be different is, what am I looking at? So when I look down from Google Earth, I see just this massive canvas, this landscape that doesn't really have any trees. So right now what I'm having to do is visualize looking out, maybe at a tee shot or a green, and let's say I'm hitting a 9-iron approach shot into a green. I'm going to really have to learn the contours of the greens, because I need to know my landing areas. Because in some cases you feel like you hit a great shot in there, it hits the side of a slope and it runs off, it can run all the way off the green. Now you're making an easy bogey because you missed your target to the right by 2 or 3 yards instead of to the left, right? So routines are important, but visualization and the preparation for the shot is what is most important to build into the routine. All right, so here's just a quick example of my routine. Set the ball in play. I've already decided it's a 9-iron, but in my mind I'm going to say, okay, well, I'm going to say the wind is moving into and from the left, right? So it's into and from the left, and it's going to be blowing pretty strong down there. So what I'm visualizing here with my 9-iron is a nice controlled kind of back of the stance. I'm not going to hit a punch shot, because when you punch down on the ball you get too much backspin. So this is what I call a flat draw, right? This is not a punch spinning draw. This is more of a low spin flat draw, right? So the distance that I would have to be playing that at, like normally here in Arizona, this is about a 155 club for me, a 9-iron. So in Australia, let's just say it's going to be going less, because I'll be closer to sea level. So maybe around 145 in yards. And let's say that particular shot into the wind, really, it could be about a 105-yard shot, because that might be the actual yardage, but when you factor into the wind and the fact that I'm not going to hit this hard, the total distance might only be 105 to 110 yards. I'm going to swing easy and hit a flat 9-iron to draw into the wind and not get pushed out by it. A lot of times when you're near the coast, the humidity's higher. When the humidity's higher, the air particles are more dense. So a 5-mile-an-hour breeze actually has 5 miles an hour of dense wind and air pushing, versus a 5-mile-an-hour with, in Arizona, 5% humidity or 10% humidity. If you flip that from 10% to 90%, the same 5-mile-an-hour breeze has a huge effect on you, right? So I'm visualizing myself hitting into left to right, 5-mile-an-hour breeze with some humidity at sea level off of firm turf. And as I get set up, even though I'm indoors, I'm going to be kind of getting my mind and body into exactly what it feels like to hit that shot. So as I come back behind, typically I'll hitch up my pants, shake out my sleeves. So I don't know why, I just want to try to make myself comfortable, right? So I usually always check my glove. You'll always hear me kind of pull my glove off, put the Velcro back down. Now, before I hit the shot, I stand back behind the ball. In this case, I'm going to be gripping pretty normal height. I'm going to close the face a few degrees. And then what I'm doing here is I'm kind of just visualizing. This is not a punch draw, like I said, so I'm not going to have any wrist angle. I don't want any wrist pop, because if I get wrist pop, you punch down on it, it spins up. That's not going to be very good. So take the wrists out of it. So in my mind, I'm picturing Steve Stricker. I'm picturing Zach Johnson. More so Steve Stricker, because he really doesn't kind of move his wrists at all, right? So I picture that. I'm also going to simulate where the pin is. So let's say, for example, the pin in this case is a back right pin over a bunker. Well, with a back right pin over a bunker, with the wind pushing left to right, there's no way I'm going to throw the ball out over that bunker, because if the wind pushes it, it goes in the bunker or off the side of the green, I'm dead, right? So the pin isn't even in play. So this is a par hole. This is not a green light flag. This is a yellow or a red light flag. I'm playing to the left side. So I'm visualizing myself aiming just slightly left of the pin, because I don't have very far. I don't have to aim 5 or 10 yards left. I just need to aim a couple yards left of the pin. I'm visualizing it going out just left of the pin, and as it hits that flat draw, landing just short of the pin, because a flat draw is still going to get some bounce, right? Still going to kick harder. So fortunately in this scenario, I've got room to do that. So it's coming in just over the left edge of the bunker. It's going to land just short of the pin and kick up kind of into the middle of the green, middle back side of the green. And that'll leave me with about a 20-30 foot putt back to the right corner. So again, like I said, it's not a green light hole location. So I visualize the technique. I'm coming in. I'm going to move back here so I can do my stance properly. Take a breath. Aiming out to the right. So as you can see, I kind of shuffle my body around out to the right. Closing the face. Visualizing. Nice little flat, slightly flatter swing, less wrists. A lot of body rotation. Now this is the stuff that you don't see on TV. I think it's fascinating. I would love to watch all the players go through this. But when you got, maybe 5 to 10 guys that are at the top of the leaderboard, the commentators are just looking for action. So they're going from shot to shot to shot to shot. So you don't get to see all this, but this is exactly what's happening. Back to my shot here. Smooth. Alright, aiming just left of the pin, just over the left edge of the bunker. Take my stance. Nice turn. Alright, now I can tell you I caught that slightly thin. I'm hoping it clears the left edge of that bunker. By the way, it did. Firm turf, hit the front edge of the green being a little thin, took a big bounce. Now I've still got my 20 or 30 footer, I hope, right? So as far as a pre-shot routine, yeah, all those things are in the routine, but really it's what are you routining? What are you trying to do? Well, if you don't have it very clear in your mind as to what it is that you're trying to accomplish with the shot, then it doesn't really matter how robotic and boom, 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 how many steps you take. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. That's better than nothing, right? If you had a robotic, systematic routine, that's good. It helps. It does help. Gets you through the shot. But you want to add more substance to your shot. You don't want to just have a routine. So visualizing, calculating, doing all the math, getting back here and feeling it. I love Golf's Sacred Journey, 7 Days in Utopia. See it, feel it, trust it. I love that formula. I follow, a very similar pattern to that. So anyway, a little longer video, but lots of really cool information for you. Here's my Mac O'Grady story. Kind of relates to what it is that we were just talking about. We were at Annandale Country Club. It was for the deposit guarantee. So it's the PGA Tour event that's in Jackson, Mississippi. It's been there for a very, very long time. I think it may be called the Sanderson Farms now, and it's at Jackson, maybe the Country Club of Jackson. I have to think about that. Anyway, caddying for Mac O'Grady. We're in the middle of a par 4 fairway. He's drawn up all this stuff for me. He's telling me exactly what it is that he's trying to do with his shot. And it's a very similar scenario in that there is a bunker on the right. Pin is cut over toward that. The wind is pushing this way. And so he goes through the whole thing. And Mac was just a fantastic kind of on-course coach for me. I got a notebook of all the stuff that he talked about. But one of the things that I felt was just fascinating about how kind of cerebral he was, and how much he was always thinking and trying to improve and trying to refine was, he gets up over the shot, he goes through, does his thing. It's about a 9-iron as well. Gets his shot, you know, does his swing. He's kind of holding, posing. And he's like, "Did you see what I did there?" And I was like, no. Let me know. Tell me. What did you do? What did you do there? And he's like, right in the middle of my... He's like, "Did you feel that gust? Did you feel the gust?" And I was like, "Well, maybe." He's like, "Well, you can hear it coming, right?" So in Mississippi, there's a lot of pine trees. So as the gust starts coming, you can hear it. The wind kind of whistles a little bit through the pine trees. And even from a distance, 40, 50, 100 yards away, if there is an extra wall of wind or a gust coming, you can kind of hear it, and it gets louder and louder and louder as it comes toward you. So apparently, at some point during his setup routine, he felt that, heard it, felt the gust of wind, and in the top of his backswing, he told me that when he got to the top of his backswing, because the way the wind was coming was into, he felt it was moving a little bit more stronger into his face, and he felt like he wasn't going to get it there. But instead of backing off and starting over, he got to the top of his backswing, and as he started to come down, he kind of did like this with his wrist just a little bit. And when you flatten out your wrist, what happens here is you shut the face, right? So if this is your normal wrist position and club face here, if you do that, if I bow that FootJoy logo to you, that face shuts. And then what happens when the face shuts is you tend to hit it with a little bit less loft, and if anything, it's going to go a little more to the left. So if the wind instantaneously picked up and blew stronger into and from the left, and you did that, it would counteract it. Not inevitably, but of course, when we get up there to the green, after talking for 150 yards, his ball has pitched just over the fringe, 1 yard over the lip of the bunker, and it's rolled up to about 8 feet. Now this isn't a practice round, but that just goes to show that when you're in tune with your swing, when you understand your swing, I would say probably if you felt it and you had time, you could back off. But how cool is it that without having the ability to back off, he was able to make that change and flight that ball just the way he wanted to. So that's a cool Mac O'Grady story. I'll share more of those. I really enjoyed my time with him. I'm going to really get on to some serious practice, and then tomorrow we'll see if we can bring that camera out to the driving range as well. So again, don't forget to tell everybody about PGA HOPE, right? Find a certified adaptive golf instructor that can help you. Talk to your local VA if you're in connection with the VA. If you're a golf professional or you're at a club or a course that has that can provide access to these veterans that are also certified after they go through the program, if you're able to provide them access to your golf course so that they can get out and play and kind of keep that brotherhood, keep that connection going with their friends that they've made, that would be awesome. So reach out to the PGA of America, find your local section and contact them, tell them that you want to help. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to get off to do some practice. Hopefully you will too, and we'll see you in the next video.